Hello WildRift fans, welcome to our new series, The Best Guide Just For You. This guide is to teach you how to play Senna as an EDC or support. Build Senna with confidence with the help of WildRift Pro Highlights build guides. Whether you are completely new to Senna or looking to refine your playstyle, we will help you to take your WildRift game to the next level. Learn Senna's ability in detail, the best item to build, which skills to level up first, and many more. In the end of the video, I will include the WildRift esports tournaments updates, so make sure to stay with us until the end of the video. Let's get started. Senna is a marksman support. She excels at staying in the backline, dealing damage and healing, shielding her team to win the fights. She is a scaling support, which means she is not the strongest in the early game, but the later the game goes on, the stronger she becomes. Okay, the pros and cons. Unique playstyle, has a good damage and healing, great solo carry potential, great in team fights, scales infinitely, fun to play, has a versatile build. Cons: squishy, weak to dives, low crit damage because of her low base damage, weak in mid game, mana hungry champion. Relies on wave clear, assist and takedown to get souls, low mobility, easy to dodge ultimate. Additional information on the items. Starting with a longsword. Depending on what item you're building first, this will be your first item to purchase. This item will give you AD, allowing you to deal more damage during laning phase. Ruby Crystal or Cloth Armor. This item will be the component of Iceborne Gauntlet, just in case you plan on building it first. Ruby Crystal gives HP while Cloth Armor gives armor. These items will help you survive much longer during laning phase. Boots of Swiftness is good since Senna moves really slow. This item gives you more movement speed than the other boots items and give you 30% slow resistance. Ionian Boots of Lucidity is good since Senna cooldowns are very long early game. Now the Power Spike, Last Whisper. This item is one of the main components of Serelda's Grudge. This item gives AD and percentage armor penetration. The armor penetration is very good in early game and even in the late game since ADCs and supports usually build armor later on after building their core items. Shen. This is a component of Iceborne Gauntlet. The ability Haze is very useful and the passive allows you to deal extra damage after casting a skill. Page. This item is a component of Black Cleaver. The HP is really useful for added sustain and the AD is nice too. This item is good for chasing since attacks and kills grants you movement speed. Yes, the core items. Serelda's Grudge is basically what you buy if you think Mortal Reminders Grievous Wounds effect isn't needed. This item gives AD, ability haste and armor penetration. Just like Frozen Mallet, this item slows enemy targets hit for 1 second. Iceborne Gauntlet. This will be your second item for Senna since she is very squishy and her abilities have long cooldowns and high mana cost. This item grants armor, mana and ability haste. Its passive creates an ice field around your enemies that slow them every time you cast a skill. The Black Cleaver. This item allows Senna to shred the armor of her enemies, which allows your teammates to destroy tanker opponents much easier. The bonus HP is good since Senna is very squishy and the ability Haste is good for her cooldowns. Now let's talk about damage. Infinite Edge. This item is great if you want to build crit on Senna, since her passive makes her auto deals 50% less crit damage. This item mostly negates that and gives you AD and crit chance. Mortal Reminder. This item is great if the enemy team has a lot of tanks or if they have a lot of healing and lifesteal. Most of the time, though Senna won't be needing the grievous wounds, your ADC should be the one building that. Besides the point, you can replace this item with Serenda's Grudge in the future if you think you only need armor penetration and not anti-heal. Mana Mune, my favorite one. This item is good for Senna since she has mana issue early game, gives AD, mana and ability haste. This item will eventually upgrade to Muramana. You want to build this if you're going lethality. Locket Enchant and Redeeming Enchant are two of the best enchants for Senna. Locket Enchant provides you and your team shields upon activation, and Redeeming Enchant provides your team AoE heal and a bit of true damage. Shadow Enchant is great for revealing enemy if you don't want to risk face checking a bush. Stasis Enchant and Quicksilver Enchant are situational. Only use them if the enemy team thinks you're a threat. Now Senna's runes, the best runes for Senna. This is the usual tank build for Senna. This build allows her to be tanky and still do much damage because of her stacks. In PC, Grabs of Undying and Front of Life can be used together, but in WildRift, they're two different runes. You can use either Grabs of Undying or Front of Life depending on the team composition and your build. Gathering Storm is great as it further increases her damage over time along with your stacks. Second Wind is good for sustain and Hunter Genius is great for the extra ability haste. You can replace Gathering Storm with weakness if you are building Frozen Mallet on Senna's first. This rune set is good if you're building Senna as an enchanter rather than a tank or ADC. Summon Eerie is good for poking because of its damage. Gathering Storm works well along with Senna, passive, and Second Wind is good for sustain in lane, and Mana Flow Band is great because Senna is a mana hungry champion. This rune set is good if you want to play Senna as an ADC. Conqueror or Fleet Footwork are great choices for Senna as it allows her to deal damage or increase her healing. Gathering Storm will always be good for Senna since it works well with her passive. Second Wind is great for sustain in lane, and Hunter Genius is great because Senna abilities has a lot of cooldown. Summoner spells. Flash, always mandatory. Ghost, just in case your flash is on cooldown. Exhaust, great summoner spells for support. And heal, if your EDC chooses barrier. Okay, let's learn how to maximize the champion's potential. Your combos. This is the first combo for Senna when laning. This will help you get souls easier because of its range. Another combo for Senna. If enemies don't know how to stay away, Last Embrace will root them after the delay. This way you can get stack much easier. This skill is camouflage skill. Use it when you're ganking or being ganked. Use Senna's Dawning Shadow in teamfights. Keep in mind that her ultimate does little damage to objectives, so please don't try to use it like how you use Lux's ultimate. Now this is your full combo as Senna. You hit enemies with Last Embrace, then use Dawning Shadow to damage enemies and give you and your allies shields. Then auto attack and use Piercing Darkness, and finally auto attack to get the stacks from your enemies rather. Depending if you win or lose the fight, use Curse of the Black Mist to escape from the enemy or use it to chase them. This ability gives you and your camouflage teammates extra movement speed. Now, the early gameplay. Senna's early game is about harassing the enemy while keeping a safe distance. This is because she doesn't scale AD when leveling up without gathering storm items or her stacks. Use Last Embrace to set up skills for your ADC. Depending on your build, you want to buy Longsword as your first item and upgrade Piercing Darkness as your first ability. This will be your main harassing and healing tools. You can use it on anything that is targetable, even wards, blast cones, and honey fruits. This ability also goes through champion, minions, and monsters, so you can harass safely. Max this ability first, then Last Embrace, then upgrade Dawning Shadow when available, and max Curse of the Black Mist last. As Senna, you want to be picking up as many as mid rates as possible during laning phase. It will always draw from a cannon, dead enemies, monsters, and objectives like dragons, heralds, and Baron Nashor. This will allow you to scale infinitely. Pay attention to the location of your jungler on the minimap. Help out your jungler by warding the river and objectives, and use Curse of the Blacksmith to help your allies escape. Now, mid-late game, you want to keep a close eyes on the minimap. Try to find good opportunities to use your ultimate to save an ally, and or sniping off an enemy. Stay close to your ADC or your strongest member of your team and be ready to save them with Piercing Darkness. Last Embrace can hold an enemy in place long enough for your team to arrive and clean up the fight. At this point of the game, you have at least 60 to 80 stacks. This is enough for you to outrage most ADCs without problem. If you're lucky, you might have 100 stacks at this point, allowing you to outrage a tower, which also allows your team to push easier because of your damage. During a team fight, you must be positioned behind your teammates and away from the enemy. You don't need to be up close since at this point, you have larger range than most ADCs. Use your ability to shield and heal your allies while damaging the enemies at the same time. Only use Last Embrace if an enemy decides to jump on you or try to escape. Senna is a great carry support. She is not your traditional support that wants to sit back and peel for your team. She wants to be active, roaming around the map and deal lots of damage. If this sounds like the sort of carrying playstyle that you want from a support, then I definitely recommending buying her and giving her a try. As I promised, this is the two major WildRift tournament to watch on. First is the ongoing WRL Challengers 2022 Season 1. And the second is ESL Snapdragon Pro Series 2022 MSP Close Qualifier. This will start on August 1 to August 31. I'm hoping this guide will help improve your gameplay. I hope you learned something from this. Thank you for staying by. This is your daily WildRift Pro highlights. Till next time, bye bye.